DQ. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on me.
Check, look, bad bitch napping in the hammock in the Hamptons. Business fresh tie with the handkerchief napkin. Flex bubble wind reverse oops when I camping. Camel print tent getting pitched by the mansion. My Cali boys ready for expansion. And we gon' make it ready when this happens. Headed to the shop, about to spend a couple dollars. $1,000 spent, Gucci print on the collar. 10 on the windows, dripping grain like a koala. Wheat color leather looking like an empanada. Rims the size of Tyler's, nigga floating like an otter. Shout out West Texas, they see you my automata. You oughta holla at your boy and get some product. Fresh Mach 1 or some bacho gelato. My nigga place an order, we gon' hit you tomorrow. My brother bustin' bricks like the jigsaw in China.
DQ, baby. Check. Look, the fashion is clever, spectacular weather. I'm blacker than I ever been. Skisha patent some leather, ink and a feather. I pen some immaculate letters. My family stay with the gift, cause we rapping together. Like it's Christmas Eve, I just roll up my sleeve and drink a cup of hot cocoa while she rolling some leaves. Have you ever lit a blunt off a chimney log? Massage from a synagogue, leads foreign student with her friends involved. No, you haven't, so I ain't trying to have it. I'm painting pictures that's lavish, getaway log cabin. Amazing the magnetism, a magnet in all facets. Check my discography, baby, it's all classics. Feeling like Curl Baskins, surrounded by all this pussy. Making this money up y'all bastards. Funny how I mastered the art of being a subtle asshole. On my dean, I'm shutting down y'all classes. COVID-19 flow nasty. Lamar Jackson with the stat time passing y'all asses. Catch me on the lake chillin' laughing, everlasting. My mind forever layer like fall fashion, nigga. Early morning, cleaning house, smoking that dough, making money, breaking bank, getting that dough. Grab a gun, but grab a book. Don't be a dojo. If the boys disagree, then hit the dojo. Early morning, cleaning house, smoking that dough, making money, breaking bank, getting that dough. Grab a gun, but grab a book. Don't be a dojo. If the boys disagree, then hit the dojo.
Yup, and click the photo. The beat knocking like a piston missing in the Lolo. The chicks should know the mission is to get some more dough. And if the friction and the tension seem intentional, then it's a no-go. And as an OG, I'm telling them young brothers to be cool. They push bass and turn up high, like my EQ that's clipping in the whip. And they say, yo, shit clean, pushing 60 in the trunk. 415s, going blah-da-down, blah-da-down. About to bounce, I hit the gas and rip the engine out the motor mounts. Hit the house to go read Dr. Ben. Then this chick sent the text that said, lock me in. Hibachi grill, Wagyu beef, Lil Kobe slice, late night demo tapes like Lil Homie nights. I text back at 4 a.m. while your girlie yawning, cause she think it feel better in the early morning.
Early morning, cleaning house, smoking that dough, making money, breaking bank, getting that dough. Grab a gun, but grab a book. Don't be a dojo. If the boys disagree, then hit the dojo. Early morning, cleaning house, smoking that dough, making money, breaking bank, getting that dough. Grab a gun, but grab a book. Don't be a dojo. If the boys disagree, then hit the dojo. Yeah. DQ, baby. Check. Look.
I need profit and privacy.
Prophecy and profit, what a nigga need. Getting cracker money off this nigga weed. God got the wheel and the dice indeed. We betting 70 on 6 like Joel and B. Prophecy and profit, all a nigga need. Cracking money off this nigga weed. Good morning to the most high. And good night to the bad guy. My southern humor is quite nostalgic. I really can't live without it. My family, they always rooted, but pessimists truly doubt it. A testament how I'm blessed and finesse, but I'm truly balanced. Outdoors, man, moving books while I move a mountain. Some were just hookah lounging. Niggas just luka balling on suckers who do be counting. The profit margin of your pocket watching is quite astounding. Secretly peeping me frequently, I was out of town.
Talk to him.
Prophecy and profit, what a nigga need. Getting cracker money off this nigga weed. God got the wheel and the dice indeed. We betting 70 on 6 like Joel and B. Prophecy and profit, all the nigga need. Cracker money off this nigga weed. Good morning to the most high. And good night to the bad guy. The sativa I get split down to nuggets and bits, then rolled in the dozen of sticks. The quarter pound bust down to 3.6. I show love cause these custos fit. They'll switch up quick. The indica that I'm sitting here, a signature top shelf. Midgets need help just to get it, bruh. You want that wax, then we dab red, kid it up, sit it up. Niggas smelt the turk before we lit it up. Privacy and profit, all a nigga need. Cracker money off this nigga weed. Good morning to the most high. And good night to the bad guy. Privacy and profit, all a nigga need. Cracker money off this nigga weed. Good morning to the most high. And good night to the bad guy.
What up, though? What up, though? Bro, I don't know, you know, at first I was like, how are we gonna have this conversation? But then I realized, like, that's just a moment in time. There'll be many other moments in time. Tri-media in the building. For those that don't know, hey y'all, let's jump Logic. Get him! Boo this man! Boo this man! For those that's been under a rock for the past 2 hours or so, Trump was shot at a rally, grazed his ear, shooter was killed, one spectator killed, one other spectator shot. You know, we got a show, run that up. We got shorts out already on TikTok, Instagram, Tri-media. Like I told y'all, you know, it's not always a comfortable position being in the media, but we are in the media, so it's not much we can do about it. And a big moment. You want to give your unexpressed thoughts before we get started? We're doing FBA ADOS today. Logic's gonna give a conversation. I want the FBA in the chat. Hit the link. We got a couple other people coming in. NAKMEEZY, unfortunately, I know he's gonna pop in. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I know he's gonna pop in. But it's gonna be a little difficult for him to get in. He asked, can we reschedule? But I still want to go live. I still want to have the conversation. I want Logic to get his words out. I want y'all to hear where Logic stands, so we can get this as another moment in time. And hopefully we can have a good conversation. So Logic, so Trump shot, one spectator dead, one person standing next to the spectator that died shot, and then they killed the shooter. What say you right now about the situation? Just your raw response.
I'm definitely in shock myself. Didn't expect it to happen like how it happened. You know, that's crazy. You know, that's all I really can say. I can't believe he really got shot. You know, my first initial thoughts is, nah, you know what, this dude Trump, he kind of, you know, he move a little different. He might set something up. You know, he's good at publicity. He might be behind all of this. You know, but you know how it's looking. You know, I need some more information before I can confirm that. But those are like, that's just my initial thought process. I don't know. I don't trust it. That's where I initially come from. But you know what I mean? You know. That's all I got to say about Trump. I'm ready to talk to my man right here, man. This okay. This is actually my guy. I like this guy.
Okay, that might not be something you want to say to start it off, but I got you. Go ahead, Rogish. Talk to the people. Give you a quick, raw response, unedited, about the Trump thing, and then we'll get started.
Appreciate the hospitality. Look, I think it's genius. You know what I'm saying? The way that he's going to use it. Whether it's real or fake isn't really the most important thing. It's about how the crowd responds. And when he threw up the fist and you saw how the crowd responded, bam, there you go. They responded more deeply to his fist that he threw up as opposed to them shots that they that they hurt. So yeah, I'm saying whatever it was, it's going to pay off real big for him. You know what I mean? Salute. Fuck it. You know, hate the player, play the game.
You muted.
I want to show y'all a quick picture. Shouts to my guy. I mean, I know we're going to get started in this conversation, but shouts to my guy, DQ. And DQ, I need that out there, big fella. I need that out there. Why don't I see this? Okay, yeah. 1 second.
You talking about that post that he just put in the chat?
Yep, 1 second. I want to show y'all. They got the shooter dead already on camera. On camera. How academics gets this stuff is beyond me, bro.
He tied in.
I'm not capping right there.
That's hilarious.
Dead on the top of a building. Right there. Dead.
Well, you got a nice little bow there. It is what it is, you know. All's well it is, well.
Yeah. Shooter killed right there. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Ran opening, ran closing.
Yeah, it's on Twitter too. Hit said, if
That's
we don't
hilarious.
get that short out immediately, man. And you know what's sad is that's a man that's deceased, and you know, rest in peace to anybody that's, you know, I don't want to be heartless, but at the end of the day, you know, it is media and we are Tribe Media, so
Long
we
live
gotta
Micah
have that
X.
conversation. Yes, we gotta have that conversation. Got to. All right, so enough of that, bro. The whole world gonna be talking about that. I'm sure they're gonna have great conversations. I want to shout out to the chat. Shout out to Omar Reed. Shout out to his mana. Shout out to my man Hits in the building. Shout out to China Black, one of my favorite mods. Social World TV in the building. Fetty in the building. I love it. It's already a little bit of a building. They're ready to see it. So now I want to set the premise for this show. Okay? I want to set the premise for this show. This show is simply this. We're going to do a hypothetical scenario, right? That's actually a real scenario. Now that FBA is 100% owned, now that hip hop is 100% owned by FBA, it's not going to be a long show. Now that hip hop is 100% owned by FBA, now what? What is FBA's plan? What are the foundational Black Americans' plan for the other things that ill us right now? Let's have a more political conversation. Let's take a break from, you know, Truth Savior. I think came in, he knocked it out the box. He had a great presentation. I think Truth Savior kind of wrapped it up in a nice little bow. So now let's say that FBA owns hip hop 1,000% from August 11th, 1973 to now, right? The 50 years. So now with all the things that are plaguing foundational Black Americans across this country, I need to know what is FBA's. I want to get to know FBA a little bit better. Now, Logic has some thoughts on FBA, what they actually do, what their actual position is. So we're going to
FBA
hear from him.
identified as what though? What do we identify FBA as within the objectivity of the equation?
FBA, the group, the foundational,
Okay, the
whatever.
group. Okay, the group.
Yeah, the group. What does, and then you'll give me your perspective from your stance, right? And then how you state your stance too. But I want to know FBA, the you go to the website, it's FBA.com, Foundational Black Americans. They have a flag. I've done a little bit of research on it, to at least be able to have the conversation. By the way, the link is in the chat. Any FBAs that want to come up, and have the conversation and talk directly to Logic. But what happens a lot of times on these shows, Rogish, is Logic will begin to speak his speak and talk his talk, and then he's not really going to finish because it becomes like a, it becomes a different conversation. So I want to
I've talked with
actually
homie
hear.
before though. I've talked with homie before. We can
Yeah,
we
no,
can
no,
have dialogue.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
on the show, on the
yeah, yeah.
shows when we have these
Oh,
shows
okay,
and
well,
we're
some
live.
people want to show out, shit, and they don't know how to continue searching for overall harmonious understanding. It might not
Right.
be it might not be that you believe what they believe, or that you're switched over to believe what they believe. It's like, nah, I just want to understand how someone opposed to me might understand something before I make a decision that, all right, well, what the way that they understand is on some fucked up shit.
Yeah. So Logic, where you at? This ain't the time to be off camera, or this is the time for you to you got your shot. You got your time to speak your speech. So Logic, I want you to start us off with a quick 3-minute monologue about what your premise is today, so I can put the banner up so they can see where you're coming from, and then we'll get into it. Logic in the building.
Well, what's happening, by the way?
What's up? What's up?
Salute. Glad y'all tuned in to hear my opinion on this, right? So FBA, Foundational Black Americans, are
They're seeing you a little low.
Foundational Black Americans are a fake activism group, right? I try not to be brash when I start giving these critiques of these people in our community. I think that there might be a lot of people within FBA who might actually really have some good intentions, but I think unfortunately they're like being co-opted behind a movement that actually doesn't represent change, right? It may represent some ideologies, but it certainly isn't. It's certainly not attempting to gain any sort of foothold in the power structure that we're talking about here in America, and that's really at the bottom of all the conversation. I'm not going to get a long monologue. It seems like people have a hard time understanding when I give depth to what I'm saying, so I'm gonna just put it straight on out there, just like that.
All right. So with the
So,
power dynamic
hold on,
being
Rogish, real quick. So you saying that FBA is a fake activism group? Flesh that sentence out. What do you mean by that when you say fake? Like they have a website. They do exist. There are people that are members of it. Tariq Nasheed is definitely a real person. So what do you mean when you say that FBA is a fake activism group?
I mean, you can just start with the real simple stuff. There's no legal implications for being an FBA. This is something that exists purely in the hearts and minds of the people
I
that
thought that's
follow.
what they're working towards, though.
Hold on, Rogish. Let them cook. And
Yeah,
then we're gonna get into a
it's
back and
something that
forth.
exists completely in the hearts and minds, of the people who support it. And as I think it's admirable to have something that you support that does uplift the black community. But once you say that, I think it's a fair question for me to ask for some little self-reflection, right? So what is FBA attempting to actually do for African Americans? Where do we now see the crossroads between the ideology and FBA and real power, which is held in the court of America? How do we go on and protect these ideas, or even fund these ideas, or even
You utilize the term uplift. You utilize the term uplift, and you utilize the term fake activist. What would you say is a real activist? And do you really think that the purpose of FBA, the group, have those who is the group versus those who is the lineage? Do you think that there is, uplift what by what means?
I mean, I think that's a question for FDA people. So a real activist would be somebody who I got right here behind me, W.B. Du Bois, somebody who actually was a qualified sociologist.
Right, but do you believe that their intent is activism? Is that they have an intention towards activism?
Absolutely,
Oh, okay. All right. That's interesting.
absolutely.
I never heard it
Yeah,
put like that. All right.
yeah. I mean, when you get all to the bottom of it, and you kind of remove some of the some of the I guess rhetoric. You know, we're talking about the advancement of the Black community, and you can't do that without some form of activism. You can't do that without some form of economics, and you know
So you
that.
think they're staying at the first stage a little bit too long? You think they're lingering at whatever their first stage was, and that all right, what's the end result, as opposed to understanding what it means for Black people to actually take that type of a stance to self-define and identify themselves. This is something that Black people have only done one time in history, and that was with when we claimed Black. Then African American came and all that other bullshit. But for Black people to have any focus, especially in a focus that gathers some form of an accord based off of culture, I don't see how any of that could be in the negative, unfortunately, because Black people, unfortunately, also don't know how to belong to themselves or own themselves. I think that's why you see a lot of those distasteful elements of character within finance, understanding, and all the rest of that you probably point out. I don't know. You seem like one of them cats that'll point out how Black people is not utilizing the system at a time at a time when the system blatantly just puts a nigga in his teeth and start chewing. You seem like one of those cats, dog. So I don't know, man. It's
Now, I understand the sentiment, and it's exactly why I have the good brother W. Du Bois right here behind me.
yeah.
I think that this
The boys
is
100. The boys is 100.
okay. So
I used to put him down. I used to actually put him down in my
okay,
studies, but he was right in his measurement of Black people to a degree.
what don't you like about what he says?
Well, he definitely come off as a coon, you know what I'm saying, first and foremost. But the thing is, what if he's a coon or not? What is it? You can't deny his mind. You can't deny it, you can't deny his science. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't wrong on all things. If there was to be some form of an unfortunate perpetual epigenetic slave link of a plantation mental ethos that was on Black people, and Black people were to be at a certain populous percentage locked down into the slave's-drone mode, then yes, then Black people should be working for their own. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a real dire way of seeing things. But and when I was younger, you would think that, all right, man, you just fucking talking shit about Black people in front of these Peckerwoods, so you can seem like an esteemed Negro. But it's like, nah, wait a minute. There are some things present within Black people, unfortunately, that shows an epigenetic slave link from the fucking plantation. Because it's like, look, there are a lot of things here, not necessarily opportunities, but ways that we can enrich ourselves from within, especially with our culture, to where you won't have to rely on the motherfucking system. And I mean, there are things here, but it seems like Black people largely is either really fucking hella slave minded and don't know they slave minded. Slave minded don't give a
Can you
fuck.
explain that? What you mean by slave minded? What does that mean?
What I mean by slave minded is the fact that Black people have a hard time understanding that America battled Black people when they were identifying themselves as Black. We weren't always Black. It was Negroes, I think, or African, like I said, Afro American or some shit right before that. The thing is, once Black people started putting forth their own ethos of establishing their value, of establishing some form of accord by their own fucking intention, it was deemed as something that was negative. It was deemed as something that was dangerous. It was deemed as something that was militant. And it's like, well, no, it's so that means that we don't have the right to care for ourselves. We don't have the right of setting our own pace of our destiny. That's what the fuck that means. Thing is, Black people don't like.
Can you do me a favor, big brother?
Yeah.
The F word, with the F word, kind of, that's not necessarily triggering me. Obviously, with us just having a conversation, but YouTube kind of don't like that. So if you wouldn't mind with the F word.
Oh, my bad. I got a strong Black center, cuz.
Now you good.
Hey, do me a favor. Do me a favor.
Compassionately.
Hold on. Do me a favor real quick. Because I want to move the conversation forward too, and then we got somebody else on the panel. Let me get him say what he got to say, and then we'll go back to the conversation. Go ahead, Chef. Chef in the building.
What's up, fellas? No, I was listening to Bad Bill. You know where I stand. I think that African Americans created hip hop. I think that everything that was added to it was an add-on. It was an infusion that we infused into it. I think Unc made a good point on Social World the other day about it. Like that's how all cultures work. You'll take bits and pieces, from other cultures to create this new culture. So us doing that, I don't see how you can give Latinos or Jamaicans credit for us, taking bits and pieces of their, culture to create, our thing. You know, um, he made a good point about when you look at an empire. He says the Roman Empire had different people from different cultures, but we still uniquely call it Roman. It is still European. We don't give the credit to the Roman, culture and empire to the other people that they came in contact with, and they took certain elements of their. You dig what I'm saying? So how do we then start giving pieces of hip hop over to other people just because we infuse certain aspects of their thing into our thing? You know what I mean? So that's all I gotta say. But
But
good
now
conversation.
I want you to speak to this premise though, because we having the hip hop conversation somewhat, but speak to
We
this
can do the
premise
hip
though.
hop.
Hold on, Logic. Hey, all right, let's set a ground rule. When Brass is talking, as far as the host, stop cutting me off. Everybody. Just because he starts making the show sound terrible. So back to what I was saying. The show right now, Logic is saying the FBA is fake activism. How do you feel about that?
It might be. I can see that in Tariq Nasheed. Um, yeah, I don't have no problem with Logic saying that
But
it's
why
fake
would you say
activism.
what is fake activism to you?
I don't know. He would have to define. I don't think nothing Tariq Nasheed do is serious. Like so, fake
What?
activism.
Say
I
wait,
don't.
say that again.
I don't think that nothing that Tariq Nasheed do is serious. Like I don't take him. I don't take him serious. I think he's what they call a grifter. You dig what I'm saying? He moved from one thing to the next. But I do not totally disagree with FBA either. I just because there's certain aspects of Tariq Nasheed that I disagree with, I can't sit there and say that everything about FBA is wrong because there's aspects of it I agree with. And I guarantee you is aspects of FBA that y'all agree with too. So y'all don't have to accept everything that Tariq Nasheed say, or y'all don't have to accept everything that the FBA stand for to agree with certain things that the FBA put forth. The same way that we don't all agree with everything that the Nation of Islam put forth. But there's aspects of the Nation of Islam of their rhetoric that we do agree with. You dig what I'm saying? And that goes for every political group that African Americans then created. Even the NAACP. There's things that we agree with the NAACP, and there's things that we disagree with the NAACP. But we wouldn't disagree with the NAACP as a whole because there are certain things that the NAACP put forth that benefited us, right? And that still benefits us. So I'll stop there.
Okay. So Dream, and then I'm gonna go back to you, Logic. I'm gonna get right back to you, Rogish. We got new people on the panel. I want to at least get them a chance to speak and then go back to the conversation. American Dream, you're in the building. Is your mic working?
Yeah, my mic is working. This is not the conversation I was expecting to have today. So if you don't mind, Brass, I'm gonna listen a little bit more before I say anything.
Okay.
The title of the show is about FBA being fake activism.
No, that's not the title. That's not the title. The title of the show is Hip Hop is 100% FBA owned. So now what are we gonna do? Now that we passed that, let's just say we're past that conversation. Now what whoever got the background, mute your mic. The now what are we discussing? Logic just made a statement in the beginning of the show that in regards to FBA, that he believes that the FBA is fake activism. So I'm trying to see where you stand on that, because that's where the conversation is right now. Because we're trying to set a basis for FBA. And by the way, in the chat, if we have any members of Foundational Black Americans that could come up and take this stance, because I don't think there's any FBA on this stance. Like I said, NAKMEEZY is not in the building tonight. Because what I don't want to do is just have a one-sided conversation about a bunch of people that aren't even FBA to start with. So stop unmuting your mic if you can't stop making noise. Let's have this conversation. So go ahead, Logic. Let's go to you.
You know, I can say a little something if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
You know, I don't agree that FBA is fake activism. I think that their concerns, as far as I understand them, are legitimate concerns. I think that the same way that you know, people say that the LGBTQ community has like hung their bandwagon on civil rights and have, you know what I mean, gotten what they've gotten off of the fact that they've, you know, hung their bandwagon off of the Black movement and and have gotten a lot of benefits off of that. I think that immigrants as well have also come here and have benefited off of, you know what I'm saying, certain advantages that Black Americans have through the civil rights movement have gotten, and a lot of us have benefited from things like affirmative action, things that were really geared towards African Americans. A lot of immigrants come here and take advantage of those things, and I think that's one of the foundational things that FBA is trying to address, especially as it pertains to reparations. I think that when it comes to reparations, they're trying to really make a legal case. And I think that the legal case they're making pertains really only to foundational Black Americans. And their concern is that the reparations case in America really applies only to foundational Black Americans. And I agree with them on that aspect. And what I appreciate is that they actually have a smart legal approach to reparations. You know, their approach, I think I've listened to Yvette Cornell, and she's spoken about, you know, her legal view of reparations and how it has to be approached, and people have given her a lot of flack over it, but I think it is the best legal approach to take. So I don't think it's fake activism. Are there things that I disagree with FBA about? Yes, but I think that fundamentally, I think they have a legitimate gripe. But just sometimes I think the way they go about it may be a little bit misguided, but I don't think it's fake activism. I think their concerns are legitimate, and I think it's worth listening to.
I think when you're discussing Yvette and Tone, I think that's more ADOS. I don't know if that's FBA. If somebody in the chat could correct me, but I'm familiar with those two names in regards to FBA. To ADOS. When they talk about reparations, I think Yvette and Tone, that's ADOS. That's not FBA. If I'm not
sure, you may absolutely be right.
Yeah,
no, you may be right. But I think that fundamentally, in terms of what I explained, I think whether it's ADOS or FBA, I think their fundamental concerns are the same. Their issues to their approaches to how they may want to address reparations may be different, but I think fundamentally their concern is that African Americans, especially foundational Black Americans, have been taken advantage of by a bunch of different groups, and not just white Americans. And I think that they're trying to fix that. So again, just long story short, no, I don't think it's fake activism.
Okay, and based on the chat, and what's up, Act? I'm gonna bring you up now. Locke, you can come up and have a conversation. It's an open discussion tonight. And I'm gonna go to Roguish because I know you gotta go. So I'm gonna go to Logic, then Roguish. Everybody else, mute your mic because there's too much noise in the when everybody else is speaking. Logic, go ahead, bro. You had a couple of responses, and then we're gonna go to Rogish.
I mean, just in short, I mean, I didn't intend on dropping his
You
name.
got to speak up.
I didn't intend on having to like say other people's name necessarily, but I mean, we're talking about somebody who does, make attempts at speaking out against white supremacy and systemic racism, right? And his FBA organization is his attempt at providing a solution, right? So you should, and by the way, I think it should be, a very healthy conversation for anybody who has some organization to accept scrutiny, right? We should all be self-evaluating ourselves in real life
But
all
but
the time.
you're
But
seeing as an
hold on. Give
organization
me a second. Give me a
versus the
second.
lineage, brother.
Finish your
So give me
thought.
a second.
Finish your thought, and I'm gonna go to Rogish.
So,
Go ahead.
so you should be asking yourself, why isn't Tariq Nasheed in any of these reparations committees? Why isn't he why isn't FBA a part of these reparation committees? Well, who are these other real lawyers out here actually making the case for reparations, and why isn't Tariq Nasheed one of them? I think that should be like a fair question. Why are we looking towards Tariq Nasheed when there are actually lawyers out there that are making the case, taking the case to the courtroom and using this very system that this. I mean, I don't know where else we're gonna get reparations from, but
Okay,
go ahead.
it's not it's
The chat.
not
Go ahead.
an organization. It's a lineage. When you say foundational Black American, that's all right. Let's say that one could, what I'm saying, put company LLC behind that or whatever. But the way that people are going at it is lineage based. They're thinking of their blood connections. That's different than just, making organizations to see if you can gain some type of advantage being a minority. You feel me? You're consistent. You're kind. You approach it as if it's only just a company or an organization. And you approach Tariq Nasheed as if he's a leader or something. What is he looking, to help y'all do and everything? So your question with this is what those who actually are part of that or that as an organization, because I'm assuming that that's definitely probably an organized group of those who are, FBA potentially the ones that he launched it with or whatever. As granted, it is what it is. Everybody got their council of thinkers and their brain tank, whatever, to whatever it is they're looking to produce. But it's almost just like how Kendrick's song "They Not Like Us," the way that it responded with Black people. All foreigners is looking like, yo, the niggas hate Drake to that degree? Wow, Black people hate Drake to that degree? No, it ain't got shit to do with fucking Drake like that. It has to do
Language.
with our culture. It has to do with lineage. It has to do with the way that Kendrick masterfully threw that shit together and connected people like that. He got people crib dancing, which is a tribal motherfucking P-Funk shuffle step,
Language. Hold on.
to some Bay Funk.
Language.
Oh,
I
my
know
bad.
you.
Excuse
Yeah,
me.
I know you feeling it, but just like you got to be careful because we won't even get the message out if the language is too dense. All right, so
All right,
let
my
me go.
bad. The algorithm rules everything around me. All right, my bad.
Yes.
So yeah, the thing is, it's a cultural lineage type of endeavor. So to ask what is the result of that, then you got to ask a larger aggregate of the people. You can't just ask a single FBA who you might think is an FBA member, as opposed to one of those who is within the bloodline of a foundational Black American.
Okay, Act. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk your talk. Go ahead, Act.
Hey man, what's going on? So
What's going
yeah,
on, brother?
I'm a Black American. I'm from Chicago. I'm what you would consider FBA or ADOS because they're two separate things, but they pretty much pertain to the same thing. Okay, but
Okay.
both of them address issues. Okay, one of our issues is flat blackness. Okay. That means that all Black people are the same. All
Hey,
Black
Act.
people have the
Act. Do
same
me a favor.
experience.
Act. Do me a favor. Since you are FBA, do me a favor, real quick. And I think this is important. Since you are FBA, because I'd rather have a person that is that basically claims FBA per se. Explain what FBA, the movement, is real quick in the shortest way possible.
So, FBA is a movement to provide an identity in an ethnic lane for people who descend from American slavery instead of operating in flat blackness, pretty much.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Our ethnicity is established through the 400 to 500 years we've been on this land. And ever since we've been on this land, we went through like what we call an ethnogenesis, right? We've developed as a people. We developed new culture, new ways of talking, new ways of cooking, new music. So those particular people need to be identified, okay? Secondly is that prior to 1965, before the Civil Rights Act, the Smithsonian had the amount of Black immigrants in this nation to the right of the decimal point, all right? Which means that it was less than 1%. The vast majority of people in this country descended from American slavery. We really never had to think about ethnicity because America up to that point was pretty much a black and a white country. I do understand what Logic is saying in that he was like, well, there's not really any activism. That's not necessarily true. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is relatively new. It's going to take time for us to get this off the ground. Tariq has been doing activism. Like he goes to those reparation panels in like California. He's talked to people on those panels. He's talked to politicians. He does do things in that realm. Is he a lawyer? No. If you really want to hear a lawyer talk about issues pertaining to Black Americans, you can always go to Tone Talks. He's a lawyer. He's out in California. He graduated from UCLA. Very smart. He works with Yvette Carnell. Okay, let me continue. Second thing is that Black Americans fought for civil rights. We died. We bled for it. But everyone comes here, look down on us, get our benefits, and we don't get anything. Part of the problem that we've had is that the things that we fought for, we have never gotten. Okay? So when those dogs were being sicked on us, churches being burned down, our people being hung, all of those things, we got none of those benefits. And I think a great example of this is if you go back and you look at the Civil Rights Act, and before the Civil Rights Act, Mexicans were classified as white people, okay? That's how they wanted to be classified. Matter of fact, if anybody want to look up Felix Terranini, he was one of the leaders of La Raza, and he stated that the Black problems were not their problems. In fact, he felt that Mexicans were better and that Black people who built this country should not even get the benefits that Mexicans got. Fast forward to the Civil Rights Act being passed, Mexicans being considered white, however, very poor. They were considered white, but they were not getting white privilege and white benefits. So what happened was they reclassified themselves as Latino and Hispanic and as a minority in order to access our civil rights benefits. Part of the problem that we have had in this country is that the things that we have advocated for and that we needed and that should have solely went to us, we were not able to do that because we were not focused on ethnicity. We was focused on color and race, and those are two separate things, okay? And if you ever can go see Ann Coulter talk about civil rights, she's for civil rights, but she's only for civil rights for Black Americans. She's for affirmative action, but she's only for affirmative action specifically for Black Americans because those are the people who have been harmed, okay? And last thing I'm going to say is this. I don't agree with everything that Tariq does, but I'm not here to criticize Tariq. Tariq does a lot of things while a lot of other people in our community is sitting on their butt. Look at microphone check. hip hop was under like attack. No one stepped up but Tariq to create that documentary. So people can say what they want to say about him, that he's a grifter, he's this and he's that. One thing I would say about Tariq is that he gets things done. And I've donated to many of his projects, and I donate to those projects because he gets things done. Secondly, Logic.
Land your plane, Act. Land your plane,
Okay.
Act.
Secondly,
You've been
Logic.
cooking for a minute now.
Okay, we're gonna have to crack some eggs to make like an omelet. Okay, that means it's gonna take us time to get up to speed. But I think it's worthwhile for us to fight for ourselves, and that's it.
Okay, appreciate you. Stay on if you can. Logic or I know Chef, you just listening. Just let me know when you want to speak. Logic, respond, and then I'm gonna go to Robish because I know you're on a time crunch, Rob. Go ahead, Logic.
What's the brother's name?
AK.
AK. Okay. Can we have a quick back and forth? Can I ask you a short, quick question? Because maybe I'm gonna attempt to at least understand exactly what you're saying, right? So we are already Black Americans, right?
Yes.
So what can we do as foundational Black Americans that we can't do as African Black Americans?
Well, anyone can claim Black American, okay? That's like a semantic. That's a game. I've seen people from Haiti, people from Jamaica who has been here for like 2 generations claim Black American. Foundational Black American pretty much states that your bloodline goes back to the founding of this country and that you've been here. So that's it's the language that's important. That's it.
Okay, so basically, what you're trying to say is you're trying to narrow down the dark skinned African descendant people into just the people who are affected by slavery here in America, right? That's what you're trying to do.
Yes, exactly. Because they see themselves as different.
No, wait, don't fall for that shit, dog.
No. I mean, no. Hold on. I don't think we're falling for anything. It's like the goal of foundational Black American is specificity. So what's wrong with specificity?
Go ahead, Rogan.
I mean, I don't think
nothing wrong with it. I think the way he worded that question was ill. You feel me? So I was like, all right, then. Like you're trying to paint somebody in the corner or some shit. The thing is what do you expect out of the result of FBA? And in your connection to it, why is it that you stand against it rather than with it?
I think it's a step that doesn't really like get the ball rolling. We already categorized as black in America. We are already mistreated as Black in America. We don't need a sub class or sub. I'm not even sure what it's called. We don't need another branch of that. We already dealing with that. So I'm trying to so we're doing all of this to establish us from other groups of people, right?
Specificity.
Right. I mean, I understand that. So, but that's not even like that's like I mean, I think that's kind of unfortunate, man. So let's say that we're actually talking about a group of people who are just simply suffering from racism and white supremacy, right?
Nigga, say us. What you mean a group of people, bro? Come on, man. Don't do that, dog. Don't do that. Don't do
us.
That, bro.
I mean, I've been saying Black.
A group of people. I hate that figurative Black people stuff. Nah, we can talk about us, homie.
Me into like unnecessary division stuff. I'm not dividing myself from Black Americans, show. You doing that?
Nah. Look, bro. Like homie said, it's all in the wording. This is what makes
No.
Hold on. This is what makes it wording because based off of the wording, we are in a particular capacity which does permit everyone to partake of a certain element of minorityism, a hierarchical minorityism, which grants them a benefit that's best, you know what I'm saying, set upon us, right? So I don't have no problem with, let's say that they did start off as a group or something. All right, then let's say they found a loophole to the system. What the hell is wrong with that? The system itself, or the matrix, or whatever y'all want to call this old Mark ass thing, it will show you how things are set up systemically and where the faults are, to where black people receiving the benefit community wise as we're supposed to. So what's wrong with black people taking initiative of that on their own and not waiting for, you know, the society to say, all right, well, you know what, we noticed that we were off balance in this here. Nah, what's wrong with that?
I'm giving you a chance to speak. I'm actually all for it. It just isn't making legal sense. You know, like
legal based off of what?
Based on the actual laws that are actually in play, right? So like when they passed for us the Civil Rights Act, they knew exactly who they were talking about. They knew who they were giving the right to vote to, right? We're kind of like we're almost like making something that's not even like necessary for the movement, right?
Hold on. That's not true, okay? Because
what you mean it's not true?
Because, okay, just give me a second. When Lyndon B. Johnson said that you cannot hold a group back for 300 laps of a race and expect for them to catch up with you, what group of people was he talking about specifically? Can you answer that question, Logic?
The very people who benefited from him passing that bill.
No, we did not. Because affirmative action benefits white women more than any other group. And this is the problem. And this is the reason why we have to establish specificity.
That's the problem.
Okay, so if affirmative action was meant for Black Americans, and this is known, you, like I said, you even have like a racist like Ann Coulter saying that affirmative action was meant for Black Americans. Is that true or not? Is that true or not, Logic?
Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm letting you flow.
I asked you a question. I said, is it true or not? Was affirmative action meant for Black Americans or all Americans?
It was meant for minorities.
You see what I'm saying? So Black Americans hopped out there, died, dog suck on them, killed for minorities that were not even in the country at the time. I just told you that the Smithsonian said that it was less than a 1% of Black immigrants here pre-1965. What immigrants are you talking about, Logic?
I'm not talking about immigrants, yo. You taking the conversation somewhere.
No, I'm not taking the conversation.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Act. Hold on 1 second, Act. Logic, get your point out. And did you have something to share? Did you have information you want to share?
I mean, we haven't even gotten to something that I feel like is worth sharing. I'm trying to like lead him into, you know, let's look at actually what the law says, right? And we haven't even really got there. We're still disputing on why we need to make this distinction, as if you know, if a law gets passed and other groups of people are able to benefit from it, that's like a unsuccess for us Black people. You know, if we're the majority of the people who get to benefit from a particular law, as if that's not what we actually wanted. We wanted the law to benefit us, and simply because it may happen to also.
Please tell me you're not here to speak for the law. Please tell me you're not one of them cats here to speak for the law, because the law does not respect Black people's autonomy.
Roguish.
Wait a minute, man.
Roguish, you gotta let him speak, G. You can go right after him, but you gotta let him speak, G. You gotta let him speak. Go ahead, Logic.
I don't understand animosity. I'm going to politely say self-reflection should be a good thing. You should welcome critique to your ideas, how to get stronger. I mean, it ain't like we're on the precipice of having this pass tomorrow. I don't see the problem with it. So this is like the reason why I call it fake activism. We so hung up on these crazy terms that we're not even welcoming the benefits. We're not even taking full advantage of the benefits of the laws that are out there. and we want to create a new dynamic of laws that we already don't understand. We trying to create a new class of people that's not on the census yet. When we go to take our driver's license, get our driver's license, all our driver's license say black.
Go ahead, Rogus.
It's hard to tell where this cat coming from. It's almost like he's speaking for the system itself and don't know how to engage this as one connected to the community. This is lineage. You're thinking you're thinking litigation. The people are talking their blood ties. You're thinking litigation. The number one issue with your people, if you FBA, the number one issue with your people is that the blood ties aren't as dense as they need to be, based off of them having, fall under the American dream fucking dynamic. Excuse me, excuse my French, and wish to have that as their form of success and their form of life and making it, as opposed to doing what they're supposed to do with one another, like everybody else is that's here participating as American, participating as an American, partaking of that dream with a whole lot more streamlined than what you can do, no matter how much you try to pull away from, that black collective ethos of identity, and more onto the general American one. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but the thing is, that's your choice. That's your decision. If black people as a collective choose to do something that they know is instrumental, you keep bringing up something with the law. The law don't. If the law dictate how black people aggregate and identify themselves, that law better be penned by some black palms and fingers, cuz for real. Law. When people bring up law, I get offended with that, because this law, this law does not respect black people's humanity. And if we're going to bring up the law, what authority does this law have when it comes to our value, when it comes to our social worth? What has been the standing perception of the law unto us? The law, whatever the fuck. Excuse me. Yeah. I'm gonna fall back for real.
All right.
Can I speak real quick?
Can you pull up the 14th Amendment, Brad?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up. 1 second, Hack. I just want to make sure everybody's getting an opportunity to talk, because y'all are kind of in a three-way kind of cyclone of conversation. I want to make sure and check. Dream and Chef, do y'all have anything y'all want to contribute, or y'all just listening at this point? Okay, no problem. Hack, go ahead.
Okay, so let me calm down. So earlier I was trying to have like an exchange with logic, but logic is not being logical. Those laws that were passed at that particular time were not passed for minorities. They put the word minority in there so that they could take money out of their left pocket and put it in their right pocket. Because if you allow for white women to flood in and get all the benefits and things that we fought for, and white women and white men marry each other at an 85 to 95% clip, then all those benefits go back into those people. White women and white men are wealth woven. That means no matter how oppressed she is, though, that wealth, that money, and everything that has been gained over the last hundreds of years is within her lineage. Doesn't matter. Secondly, is the reason why we're doing lineage is to get rid of this minority thing. We don't need no minority thing. We were not enslaved. We were not enslaved in this country because we were minorities. We were not redlined because we were minorities. We were redlined because we were black, and a system has been used, more specifically a caste system has been used to tether us to the bottom of this society. And we need very specific policies, very specific things that target our lineage so that we can deal with these problems.
All right, go ahead. You wanted me to pull up the 14th Amendment logic. It's up there. You
Okay,
want me
I
to
asked
read
him.
it or
I
what?
asked him to pull it up. No, I asked you to pull it up.
Okay. You want me to read something or what?
Nah, I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
I understand fully what he's saying. Right. What the FBA's problem is that when you look at the 14th Amendment, that it does not exclude people who are not hold up. It does not exclude people who are not a part of the lineage, as Roe keeps saying, of people who actually suffered under slavery in America, right? And it says it right there: all persons born on natural or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Right. So that means that anybody born here, from African descent can be basically deemed an African American. I understand exactly what I am saying. Right. And I'm saying that there are a lot more problems that you have to overcome in the legal battle of getting reparations than how the 14th Amendment is worded. I understand exactly what it is you are saying that FBA needs to overcome in order for you to get the reparations. You still have the statute of limitations. You're still going to have the burden of proof of damages. You're going to have a lot more things to have to overcome, even if you establish this particular lineage. And I think that's very fair to ask. That's not me being, contrarian. I'd love to have black people get their reparations. I'd love for us to get our just due from the government. I think they owe it to us also. But to make a humongous deal over this initial step, right? When there's so many other obstacles to have to overcome, I think it's a bit ridiculous. And
Your argument is for ADOS, not FBA.
Why you say that?
Because you consistently bringing up reparation. I think you projected that upon it so that you could have some form of a goal to give yourself target for, because you can't put one for FBA.
I'm actually not attempting to do that, brother.
That's what it seems like. Because the thing is all right. So what do you think as far as it goes for reparations? I don't know. I don't know where this reparation talk come in at. The thing is, lineage outweighs. Lineage outweighs.
What would the benefit
lineage outweighs all of that?
What would the benefit of creating or being specific about this particular lineage? What advantage would that give you anywhere?
Homies just broke it out to you, dog. Look, if you are the social portal towards which all new classifications are going to flow.
Bakari, right? If you want me to bring you up, you got to cam up, at least in the back chat for 1 second. I got to see you if you want to come up. Go ahead, bro.
Then that means that your capacity is not just as a fellow social class as everybody else. Black people are a social portal for non-whiteness. There are certain legal properties that came with that, and certain deficiencies that came with that. That is something that is whether you wish for it to be or not. Now the properties applied to it, then all right, you could say that all right, the Pilgrims, they did it, but someone had to be the first. The fact that we were the first non-white classification within this land that was supposed to be solely a white class land. Hence, you got all these other Pilgrims that had to be here and earn their whiteness. Irish, the Italians, the Scandinavian, all them people that was up and around the Chicago area, 17 different styles of European or whatever, they had to earn their whiteness, right? This was only supposed to be a white class society. Once they freed their slaves, now you got to create another class. Once they expanded the operations of their plantation, in financial form, maybe not in physical form, but definitely in financial form, then they permitted everybody else to start participating. Well, they have to come through into this land as something, a minority. This is the issue. The issue is that we were made into another objective. And that which we need unto ourselves for our very selves, for the sake of ourselves, that the system owes everybody to give based off of how one is operating as a citizen, right? We don't get that. And on top of that, we get preyed on too by the system, but nobody will talk about that part. So what ADOS and FBA is seeking to do is establish, as homie said, some specificity to that identity that is within within law, even if it's unmentioned. Nobody became a minority unless they became a minority through us. Okay, then what did becoming a minority to us grant us? What did us becoming a minority grant that to everybody else? Everyone else is getting a lot more gain off of their minorityism than we are.
All right, Bakari, I got somebody new to the panel. Go ahead, Bakari.
Can I respond to that right quick?
Yeah, you real quick. Hold on, Bakari, real quick. Logic. Then I'm gonna let him speak. It's so much back and forth going on.
I'm gonna be sure.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna be sure. I respect what you said, and I hope it's not completely true. Because if we're only doing all of this to create a new identity, that means we're still not getting any closer to accomplishing anything. And we got to be trying to accomplish something, right? We might sit here and kick back and forth the means in which we actually get it done, but I think collectively we can all agree we're African Americans. We are Black Americans. We are born in America. We are descendants of slaves. We can do that right here, right now. I'm talking about actually getting something done. That's what I keep asking. I'm assuming that you guys were attempting to create this classification so you could take it to court and exclude other groups of people and say specifically reparations should belong to this people. And maybe I got my information wrong, but I'm hoping you're trying to accomplish something. I'm hoping you're trying to accomplish something. From what I can tell, it's about reparations. I've been doing some research, and maybe one of us is maybe making a mistake, and that's okay. But let's hear from the other people on the panel.
Go ahead, Bakari. You're in the building. Go ahead and speak.
What's going on, man? Thank you for allowing me to speak on your panel.
Yes,
one of my
sir.
homies sending this to me. Thank you. And peace to everybody on the panel in the chat. What I want to speak, a couple of things I heard. I ain't going to be long. Mm-hmm. Well, I heard the one guy talk about we were enslaved, about being enslaved, and we were enslaved because we were Black. I have no idea why we run away from Africa. They enslaved Africans. They never enslaved a Black American. So now when they talk about things that
big up Virginia,
when we talk about things that other people have received, I hear people talk about what the Jews have received, but they remain Jews. I hear people talk about what Asians or what Japanese, what they got. Every group of people remained who they were. No group of people got anything trying to be loyal, trying to disconnect themselves from their ancestors and connect to their oppressors. And when I hear this FBA movement and the ADOS movement, it seems like the biggest thing for them, a biggest thing for people that's part of that movement is, as long as if white people accept us, it's almost like that's what they're looking for. So when they talk about reparations, they're going to give, I heard the one brother mention reparations. This, the people, this white folks came and took this country. Nobody gave them nothing, right? So when the one brother Logic say, what are we attempting to do? Do we have a plan? So we should have a plan on hold your money, but it's so hard for us to say, we are gonna only support us. Stop giving, because we focus on.
Hold on 1 second, Bakari. You got a cam up in the back chat or you'll be removed. So you got a cam up in the back chat to be removed.
Go ahead, finish your statement, big brother.
We
Go ahead.
focus on black people from other places so much where, and I like to use the example, they talking about closed borders at this country. But we focus on black people from other places so much in trying to create some damn special tribe to show that we are better, where the borders in our community is open to everybody. I don't hear the smoke saying don't go spend your money with them Arabs. How about join the hashtag hold your damn money movement? I don't hear nobody saying don't spend your money with them Koreans, don't spend your money with them East Indians, don't spend your money with the Chinese, because we are so focused on people that look just like us. We're so focused on distant cousins. Then we create a false narrative. We were here. We the real natives here, because I guess you're ashamed of your ancestors. But if I agree with the brother, like we have to want to do something. Because it's not black people from other places owning the corner stores, in the beauty supply stores, in the nail salon, and serving y'all all that MSG in the community. It's not black people from other places that's doing that. We are more concerned about white people might accidentally give a brother from Nigeria $2 of the reparations, instead of focusing on right now, we the prize, right? We have the power in our community. So, but we give all of our strength, all of our power to Chinese people for that rat fried rice, for the Koreans, to the Vietnamese doing your nails, for the Arabs, and for the East Indians. And to me, it's weird. It's really weird to me to see the smoke that black people just have for other black people. And on that note, bro, I'm gonna yield my mic.
Hey, I appreciate you. Hey,
Can I
real quick.
respond to them?
No, 1 second. Let me just do something real quick. I know it's gonna get a little spicy. It's cool. Go ahead. Don't do any of the captions logic. Let me do something real quick. Go ahead, and speak.
Peace to the family, man. The brother that was just talking, I got two questions, man. If a nigga owe you $5, would you be mad?
I don't deal with niggas. I don't call nobody that term. So who are you talking about when you say that? I don't use that term. I never use that term. So I don't know who you're talking about.
You know
I
what?
just asked you. I'm telling you, I don't use the term.
Okay.
I don't call people that.
All right, cool. So
explain to me who you're talking to. Who you talking about?
Scratch that. If somebody owe you $5, you gonna be mad or you want your money?
Somebody owe me $5.
This cat sounds like a disruptor.
No, I'm not. I'm asking a very simple question, because you said, so what if
Nigerians
give $2? What do we care? We care about all our money. Where the hell are you from?
Okay, you got
hold on, Bakari. So go ahead, state your premise. Okay, he answered your question. He said, yeah, so what's your overarching point? What's your point to what you're trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that he trying to brush it over like it don't mean nothing. And Logic, you ain't answering no question, man. You trying to soak us some game for some kind of reason. But the question I got is this. Everybody talking about FBA and shit, right? Everybody know what Black American is, right?
Yes.
So why the fuck is foundational?
Watch your language.
My bad. Okay, what is it about foundational that makes y'all lost?
Okay, stay right there. Answer that question.
I want Logic to answer it.
Okay, Logic, answer that question.
I think it's I think it's like a diversion. I think our problems are a lot bigger than how.
That's not what I asked you. What is it about foundational that throws you off?
Let him finish his thought and then go back in. Mute your mic though, because your background is loud.
I think we got a whole lot bigger things to worry about than how we identify as a community, and we should be far more concerned about how we identify in black and white and on paper, right? And to answer I guess everybody's question, to be able to provide a little bit of clarity here. I pulled it up on the screen. I'm on the
no. This ain't no leeway for you to do all that, man. I'm asking a simple question.
What about? Okay, so stop. Hold on, hey, both of y'all stop. So the question is, what about the foundational in FBA is what what's your
This is
name,
my
bro?
simple question.
Can I
Everybody
answer the
know what
question?
black and
Can I answer?
he
Can
was
I answer?
Can
Hold
I
no,
on,
answer it?
Larry. Hey, listen,
No,
listen,
look,
listen.
no.
look.
Hey, listen, listen, listen. Everybody, hold on. Everybody mute their mic. We are gonna have an issue if you don't allow me to run the show. Just nobody just blurt out, nothing like that. Just give me a second. I'm trying to keep some clarity. State your simple question, and then I'm gonna allow him to answer, then we're gonna move
Simple
forward. So state
question
your
is
simple
this.
question.
All right, bet. So everybody know what Black American is. Logic agree, and most of y'all agree what Black American is, right?
Okay.
Yes or no? I'm asking logic.
Yeah, yeah, I understand what Black American
All
is.
right, bet.
Yes,
So what does foundational mean?
I'm not too sure. What does it mean?
Oh, I mean, you against it?
Now answer
You
that
don't know
question
what you're
though.
against?
Answer that question. What is the foundational? Yeah.
Foundational means to be the base, the founder, the one who actually created, the cultivator of something, right? So foundational in front of Black of American, right, means the founders of our people, us. I don't understand why this foundational shit makes it seem like it's something else.
Okay.
It's like a waste of time. Like, nigga, we founded towns and everything. Like, this what we do.
All right, get it out. All right, because is it?
I
Let
mean,
me
ain't
go
nothing
ahead.
else to get out. You just want to
Right,
be us and you ain't.
talk, big brother. Okay, I heard you. I
And
heard
we gonna
everything.
get
Okay.
your
Hey,
ass on
hey.
about the point soon.
All right.
Hey,
Thanks,
look,
son. Thanks, son. I appreciate it,
I
V. Go
pulled
ahead. Pull
up.
up. What do you have on the screen, Logic?
I pulled up the FBA website. I went
Okay.
directly to Tyreek's website. So we way at the bottom of the screen, right? This is all the memorandum or whatever y'all trying to accomplish right here on the page, right? It's specifically talking about making a case. This type of information is important when foundational Black Americans present a reparations claim because every potential beneficiary should be able to provide plausible and legitimate documentation of their lineage. So we're not just doing it for nothing. This isn't all about some identity, and it should be bigger than that, right? And that if there is a part of the movement that's actually admirable or to be maybe considered and figure out how we can flush it out, make it better, make it actually happen, it'd be that part. It'd be that part. How can we
How do
how
you?
can we
Who are
figure out
you
how
to assume that
how
they
can we
won't
figure
reach
out how to
that?
get us closer to the reparations, right?
Who are you
Is
to assume that
creating
they won't reach that at
because
the pace that
it's saying on
you
their
prefer?
website. Huh?
What is what? Okay, let me ask you think. Well, let me ask you something. What do you think is the ideal pace for the organization of FBA to take? Because y'all, I know you're still not speaking toward the lineage.
I'm speaking towards the lineage right now. I'm saying that creating another group of people within America is unnecessary.
It don't matter if it's unnecessary. They already done it, and they're on to the path. Now you're asking what's next. You showed what possibly could be one of their nexus, right? Within their presentation of some protocol that they had towards reparations. All right, cool. That could be considered a next, but perhaps maybe the pace at which they're going about it, it is not. I don't know. Perhaps maybe you need to be speaking to the brass of the FBA organization, but it seems like you're calling to accountability those who are establishing the identity. You know what I'm saying? The foundation of the identity and the utilization of it. And you know what I'm saying, and the magnification of it. You calling them into an accountability that you need to be talking to the CEO about, cuz.
I'm fine with that. So, and I keep hearing you mention identity, right? And I think that identity is important, but I do not think it gives us any sort of leverage when it comes to litigation.
Yes,
And
it does. Yes, it
that is the
does.
Hold
basis
on. Hey, listen.
of
Hold on.
what
Let him finish, and
this
I'm gonna go right to
premise
you,
is.
Act.
That's the basic of what this whole premise is. If I were to categorize what's more important, I ask you what's more important, having a well working knowledge of how politics and legislation works, or having a identity. Which one of these things give you more leverage in the courtroom? It should be an easy answer, right? So why isn't y'all's representative someone who represents legislature or politics or legal? Why is it an ideology? I mean, I
Homie, you
think
just
that's
need to
a
go
fair
join
question.
up. You need to go join up
You just
and
need
be
to go
that
join
which
up.
is missing. Yeah, be that
Okay.
which is missing for them, and be it some type of logical ear, if you will, pardon the pun,
That's actually
in
what I'm doing right now.
Tariq's canal, because it seems like that's where you need to be, dog. You know what I'm saying? You need to be somebody's number one. You feel me?
No, that's actually what I'm doing right now. I don't. It shouldn't be like. It really shouldn't be no issue to disagree or to scrutinize anything. Like that's actually how everything gets better. Somebody comes along and maybe sees a potential issue, sees something that can get done a little bit better. I don't know. To me, that's how smart people think, dog. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like at some point in time, everything can't just be perfect. Like, are you telling me FBA is perfect? Is everything they got going on? Is it just like, is it, bam, we just about to get it done? I mean, nah, that's actually what I'm doing. I'm attempting to provide a loving critique. I don't have my emotions in this.
So
I
when you
love black people regardless of what you think I think.
And then I'm gonna let Act
no,
get
I
in.
ain't
Then
say you
I'm
don't
gonna let
love
Act.
black people. No.
Then I'm
I
gonna
have
let
a
Act get
question, man.
in. I'm gonna let Act get in right after that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rogue. Finish up, and I'm gonna let Act get in.
Okay. So there's been a lot of things been said. Okay. So because like I want to address some of these things. Okay. When he talks about statutes of limitations, there is no statute of limitations on genocidal activities. Okay. This has already been established by the international courts and international organizations. Secondly, is specificity is important. Specificity allows for you to look at wealth data differently. Okay. It allows for you to trace the harm and the impact of redlining, Jim Crow, slavery, right? All of these things. All right. Specificity is at the heart of this conversation, and I don't want us to keep skipping over that. I don't practice flat blackness no more. I practiced flat blackness for
What is
30.
flat blackness? You keep saying that. What does that mean?
That means everybody. So if somebody hops off the plane from Nigeria, Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad, Congo, Kenya, that all those black people are the same. They have the same experiences. And that Kenyan and that Jamaican or that Haitian can represent my issues as a black American. They can't. We're different. We are our own ethnic group. If you go into Nigeria, you have Igbos, you have Yorubas, you have Hausa, Fulani. They all see each other differently, and they will never ever let the other tribe represent them, even though they're in the same nation. So what do I look like as a black American, a foundational black American, to allow for a foreigner to come over here and not only represent me, to allow for them to misrepresent me? For example, the lieutenant governor of Virginia is Jamaican. They asked her about reparations, and she said, I don't think we need reparations. What do you mean we? She's not even from here. She should be speaking on CARICOM. CARICOM is the reparations council for Caribbean people down in the Caribbean. The reason why we don't need other people speaking for us is because white supremacy tends to create tools. They tend to create sellouts. It is easier to create a sellout who don't come from your lineage versus somebody who does. Secondly, if you look at the ruling on affirmative action from the Supreme Court, they pretty much said that affirmative action cannot be race-based. However, they can see a use for it under lineage, which is the reason why lineage is the most important thing. I don't practice flat blackness logic. That's your thing. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And that's what I have to say on that pretty much.
Appreciate you. Go ahead, Logic.
It's definitely not my thing. I have no problem at all distinguishing myself from other groups of people, South America, Africa, like that. That's not difficult. You know, I can understand what you're saying. I just, I realize that, there's an actual court that held this problem, and I'm not aware of the way that people were identified as being one of the reasons why the conversation stalled. But when I get on YouTube, right, I run into an entirely different reality, right? We get people who don't seem to be familiar with the people in the case, don't seem to be familiar with the lawyers that had the issue, don't seem to be familiar with the commission that was a part of the cases, or any of the hangups on the case. And yet we champion that this is what was wrong. And that should be problematic. That should be problematic. Like there's
What the
there's
hell are you talking about, man? You not notice that not once have you spoken to the aspect of a people reestablishing, redefining what the position of their lineage means within the system. Not once have you talked about that. You just bring up some law like the law is being broken or offended or encroached upon
watch
when people
this.
making these motions. Like what is it with this law, bruh? You a Moor?
See, watch this. So I'm gonna give ground just for the
Are
sake of
you
the
a Moor? Do you got are you Logic L or Logic Bay, perhaps?
I'm gonna give ground just for the sake of the conversation, right? Let's
The answer's
assume
I'm gonna answer for him. No, he's not a Moor. He's not a Moor.
let's
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
let's
Go ahead,
assume
Roger.
right. Let's assume I was about to get off my high horse right there, but let's assume that we are classified under FBA. So when you go fill out your next job application, are you saying there's going to be a slot for FBA, or is no longer going to say African American, or what is this classification actually providing us that it's not providing us right now? Right now we are the we are like we're poorly
Wait.
represented.
What is it providing us that it is not providing us right now? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
what you
So
just
if
said?
if we can change our classification tomorrow from African American to uh, foundational black Americans, what can we do then that we can't do right now?
Well,
Does that
definitely the
help us
distribution
right?
of minority assistance is going to fare better towards black people. Because right now,
Oh,
because right now, everybody's a minority, even white women. That's what homie came in telling you about. If white women are a minority, even though they were half the historical predator of white supremacy upon black progress and stability, therein shows you that being a minority is that the fix is on with that. And what FBA and ADOS, both of those groups, you want to call them groups, whatever, was attempting to do was to correct that, right? That's why homie was saying I don't deal with the not with the flat blackness, because people who might share our skin color, they don't share our experience here within this society, nor should they be able to speak for us simply because they have our skin color. So, and in the same way as they say that, when something happens with police, they'll say, you know what, we just need more representation, right? We need more black representation. All right,
we
then
do.
when you encounter black police, does it look like their blackness is having some form of an instrumental effect as they police? Not likely. Not likely. So it seems that blackness is being utilized for leverage on the benefit of those who don't even hold a cultural lineage attachment to it. And if that is the case, why should they be the only one that could bank off of us? Once
Let
whatever
me
you change.
let me if I could provide some advice, right? Y'all, it sounds good when we stick right in that reparations box, right? Because if we get outside that reparations box and you try to invert this conversation, it sounds crazy.
No,
right?
it doesn't.
Watch this. Let's say, so y'all, it sounds like y'all are petitioning for particular politics to be beneficial to only one specific group of people in America known as foundational Black Americans.
Yes. Why not?
Let's invert that. Let's say that they make laws that are only beneficial to white people. You think
they've already had that?
Wait,
what are you talking about?
Wait. Hold on. One mic.
There you go.
Let
there you go.
Hold on. Let Logic
I can see why people get at you
now.
now.
I'm gonna go to Rogue. Logic. Explain your. Hold on, Act.
I can see it.
Explain your point. Then I'm gonna go to Rogue. Then I'm gonna go to Act. And then my man Concrete Corey's in the building. I don't know how much of the conversation you saw, but definitely you're welcome to chime in. And then shouts to Dr. Derek Cologne. He's in the building also. Go ahead.
Look, let's say they pass a law that says that we're only going to allow business grants for white people. That would what? Now you would really have something to be upset about. See, that's why I'm saying if you condense that conversation and stay in reparations, it would make sense. You get outside of that box, and if you're making it fair on one side, then you got to be saying that it's just as fair on the other side. It's already not fair for us.
What other sides were there when you're talking about reparations and what Black people, the position that Black people played? There are no other sides. There is no one else that was present except us. What other side? Hold your tongue,
really quickly, because these two keep going back and forth. Logic.
So look, what I'm actually trying to say, though, what I'm hoping to translate gently, loving critique. It's what I'm hoping to do, right? If you stay in this box of reparations, and if you're trying to make this new category that represents this one particular group of people, I understand. My point was that there are a lot of other things, and there's a real situation out there in which that's not exactly what is the hang up. So since you just agreed that what you're attempting to accomplish is let's make it legal now for them to be able to pass laws that only benefit one group of people. So now you want to take the word minority out of law, right? You want to take minority, which is a word that they throw around is to basically say people who are probably under a certain stress level, in particular in the United States, however they want to word that in the law, right? We're talking about how the law actually works. Let's say that they start doing that and completely excluding us from all the loopholes that they
You don't make any sense. Can I address this guy?
Yeah, real quick. Hold on. Go ahead, Act
please,
real quick, and then I'm gonna get into American.
Imagine if there are no Black business owners because of the law. See, that sounds
logic. Okay, logic. Okay, we got your point. I'm gonna let Act go. Concrete Corey, then American Dream. Go ahead, Act, and land your plane.
Everybody just hear what this guy just said.
What did you say?
Logic said, what if they created laws that only benefit white people? Have you ever heard of the Homestead Act, sir? Have you ever heard of the GI Bill, sir? Have you ever heard of redlining, sir? Have you ever read The Color of Money, where this Iranian immigrant woman has went through and systematically show how white people in this country created laws to extract wealth from Black people? We don't want money just for nothing. We want what was taken from us. So if wealth was taken, wealth should be given back. Let me give you an example, and I'm going to land my plane.
Okay.
Let's say Great America made us ride roller coasters while they were testing them. They forced us to do this in order to master the technology of roller coasters. We were killed. We were maimed. They used our bodies the way that they wanted to use them. Then all of a sudden, they open up the gates and they say, hey, you know what? We're going to repair you. We know we built this theme park off your back. They open up the floodgates. They let all these minorities in. What would those minorities have to do with great America taking advantage of Black Americans, forcing them on these rides, dying on these rides so that they could perfect it and gain capital from it? Please tell me why minorities deserve the same thing as a group of people who has served as the primary form of capital and the foundational capital of this country. Why would they get the same thing, Logic?
No lie, that analogy it confused me. It did. I'm not
No,
even too
what I'm
sure what
saying
you're
is
talking
this.
about. So the one part I
Hold
did
on, hold
understand.
on. Before y'all get into a back and forth, let me move this conversation to somebody else. Go ahead, Corey. What's going on, G?
Oh, peace to y'all, brother. I just wanted to stop through, man. I seen y'all was live. I didn't pick up much of the conversation. I picked up the kind of the last part. I heard Logic's argument, and I heard a couple other people's argument on it. I'm always torn on reparations, right? Sometimes I go back and forth, so somebody can. I'm one of them ones that I'm convincible, right, on that topic. Uh, Sometimes I think it's a futile effort. I just think so. I I think, well, maybe not a futile effort, but sometimes I think it, it in 2024 it's just kind of unrealistic. You know what I mean? But sometimes I hear good arguments. I just heard my man's argue within my man's argument. He pulled one of my heartstrings. He mentioned redlining in the GI Bill. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you can always find a heartstring there for me. You know what I'm saying? If you package your argument around that, right? Yeah, but I'm always torn, like I said, about that. So go ahead, brother. I didn't want to be long. I'm listening. I'm interested in the back and forth.
Okay, I appreciate it. Go ahead, Dream. Speak to it.
The only thing I do think I want to say is to the
Your mic
gentleman
is
who
low.
just give me a quick sec. Is that
And
any
the link
better?
is, yeah, that's much better. The link is in the chat. You're welcome to come up, but you have to cam up before you come on the screen. Conversations like this bring out weirdos, so you got to cam up at least in the back chat so I can see who you are before I let you on the panel. Go ahead, Dream.
Yeah, I think the guy who spoke before, I'm not sure what his name is. He kind of was in support of FBA and I think it kind of, just to reiterate what I said before, where even though I agree that FBA does have legitimate gripes, I think sometimes their way of going about fixing those gripes can be kind of, can create bigger problems than they solve. Like this here, for example, I think that we have to remember, because he seems to speak with a lot of anger about
Who you
what's
speaking
going
to?
on
Act?
with,
You speaking to AK?
yeah, I think so. He
Okay,
seems to
go
be
ahead.
speaking with a lot of anger about what's going on with, immigrants that take advantage of stuff that's there for Black Americans. But I think that we should remember that it was really Black Americans that pushed for that as well. Black Americans did at one point push for that inclusion, where they wanted everyone to be seen as Africans. They saw themselves as Africans. They saw the struggles that other immigrants went through in their homeland, that they were all, descendants of slaves in their own way. So when those people came here, African Americans kind of accepted them as going through the same struggle. We were all Black people. And that's pretty much why immigrants were able to take advantage of those things, is because African Americans pretty much allowed it. And so, his anger is just, to me, a little bit, just misplaced, because, immigrants didn't take advantage of it on their own. They were kind of, welcomed to it. And I think that FBA has to, be kind of open to that as well, and kind of see that that is true as well, and just not have so much of the vitriol that they do against immigrants, which is the in my estimation kind of like the underlying reason for the disunity that's going on, is that they don't necessarily want to take responsibility for, you know, the fact that other people are taking advantage of what is meant for them. So that's pretty much the only thing I'd want to add to that. I do want to kind of speak about, you know, the 100% hip hop thing and kind of get it back to hip hop, but maybe there are other people that want to speak to the FBA thing before I do so. So I'll just leave it at that for now.
Okay,
Could
no
I
problem.
respond to that?
Go ahead, Rogish.
The thing is, those, and I think this is why this lineage thing actually is important, and this is why I wasn't down with ADOS and the FBA. I figured at first I was figuring that it was a grift at first, and
Okay.
then seeing as how folks was like really like deeply connecting themselves with it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually like a lineage connection for folks. It's not just, you know, the next black group is going to do whatever, right? And then it hit me that it was our parents, like homie who was speaking before me just said, it was our parents who was all inclusive like that, right? That was the and our parents' parents. So you had a black generation that was largely, um, uh, I guess you could say, in their formative years in Jim Crow, and then those within the civil rights movement. Within the civil rights movement, once, and this is the ill part, culturally, black people have always suffered from toxic pilgrim acceptance syndrome. Um, the same way that a baby animal that got something broken is tended to and mended by some pilgrim tends to follow behind it, like they show in the TikTok videos and all that shit. Um, Black people tend to hold on to white America to a degree like that. And it's like, all right, the moment that this place seemed like that it's, you know, either letting up a little bit of that pressure or maybe opening a little bit more of their privilege, black people let, you know, they lose a little bit of that self autonomy or possibly sacrifice a little bit of. Well, what do you think those two generations were thinking after the civil rights movement? Those children who were bused into schools. Those people who were permitted to use the restrooms and I guess diners and all that. That's what y'all want to do with that. It was weird, but they had to be under the mindset that okay, you know what, the fight is done. We've won not only for us but won for everybody. They had no clue that those groups were still conspiring against them in forms of fashion. They were actually locked into the whole we American thing. And those other groups actually proved to be more tribalistic as opposed to we American. And that's what black people have been checking upon themselves. That blind, blatant we Americanism. And black people got the right to do that in whatever form that they might deem set. Because again, we don't just operate with y'all as a fellow classification of people within this land. We're the ones who start off that other classification outside of whiteness. Minorityism means something on its own because of us. Not just that we are the minorities. No, there wasn't no minorities before us, and everything that all other people was able to partake of and actually enrich themselves of within their minorityism. You mean to tell me we're the only minorities that can enrich ourselves within our minorityism? Why is that? Oh, okay, perhaps maybe just a little bit too closely knit with this sole classification of non-white. Oh, minority. No, we're more than that. We are more than that. And can't nobody say we ain't.
Can I share my screen right quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Logic. And then I'm gonna go to app. And the link is in the chat. You're more than welcome to come up. Anybody. True Savior in the building. Go ahead.
So I've been looking up what some of the issues are, and right here I just got two simple examples. You can see where I typed it in. I say, why did the last reparations case end? It says the most recent major reparations case ended primarily due to legal and procedural challenges. The case of Cato versus the United States was dismissed in 1995 because the court found the plaintiffs lacking standing to sue, standing to sue, meaning they could not demonstrate a direct personal injury linked to the historical injustices of slavery. Additionally, the court ruled that the claims were non-judicial. Political questions that were beyond the scope of judicial resolution, and the statute of limitations had expired for any potential claims. These legal barriers highlighted the complexities and difficulties in pursuing reparations through the judicial system. Right? I went a little deeper. Right? And it ain't me. Right? I am simply expressing that establishing this lineage ain't even the problem. Here it says again, one of the most notable recent reparation cases for African Americans was in 2019, lawsuit filed by Deidre Farmer Peelman and the Restitution Study Group against several major corporations. It sounds like they tried to incorporate a bunch of people in it. The plaintiffs argued that these companies had profited from slavery and should pay reparations. The case was dismissed because it faced legal obstacles such as statutes of limitations and issues of standing. These legal hurdles just demonstrate the complexities involved in seeking reparation through the court system. So I am still simply saying that once you do go on to establish this new people group, it's still not even the problem. You want me to read it again?
No, please don't, bro. Please don't. Please don't.
No, what I want you to do, listen, what I want you to do is just sum it up, and then I'm gonna go to act. I want you to sum it up, and I'm gonna go to act.
I'm done. I could have sworn.
No. Just sum it up in a sentence. Sum it up in a sentence.
Nah, he's done. He's done.
Establishing your lineage is not why people are not getting the reparations. That's what it says. It says that the problem was the statutes of limitations. That's the hurdle that they're actually having problems overcoming.
Issues of
not establishing lineage.
You don't establish your lineage for reparation. You establish your lineage for the sake of your lineage.
Okay, let me go to Corey. Go ahead, Corey.
No, I just wanted to say that because they talked about the statute of limitations, but the key thing in that was the issue of standing. And in layman's terms is they don't have a leg to stand on. That's what that means in legal terms. But go ahead.
Yeah. What do you mean? Speak
your truth, man. What you talking about?
Flesh that out a little bit more. I want to understand where you're going with that.
There was an issue of standing. That means they didn't have nothing. When they got to court, they say, okay, well, we want to bring all these people up on charges or whatever, however they call. I'm not a legal guy, but I do know what terms is, right? So once you bring them in, now you got it's the same thing what happened with Donald Trump in election cases, bro. It was he had an issue of standing. Now you got to say, bro, when you get into court, all the rhetoric on the street sounds good, but when you get into court, you got to start being specific about what happened. What are you basing your case on for this company, for that company, for this company? What violation did they commit? What time did they commit the violation? Who was the culprits of the violation? Did they act as a corporation or as these was individuals? You know, all of these, you got to have a leg to stand on in court. You can't just say rhetoric because the rhetoric on the street, it sounds good and it's good and emotional. You know what I'm saying? But when you get in that legal courtroom, language changes. And shit matters. Everything you say matters up in there in that courtroom. See, that's what it's serious at. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why they saying there was an issue of standing, because when they got in the courtroom, they start fumbling and mumbling.
Yeah.
Asking questions.
Okay,
Can I go?
go ahead, Ack, and then well, real quick, Ack. Let me just jump in, right?
Okay.
I just want to have a conversation real quick as to what Logic was saying. So, I asked ChatGPT, and trust me, I'm not a person that trusts ChatGPT blindly, but the issue of reparations, I just asked, what are the three main issues standing between African Americans and receiving reparations for slavery legally? So the issue of reparations for African Americans due to slavery is complex. It involves multiple legal, political, and social challenges. But here is what ChatGPT believes are the three main legal. Don't add anybody to the stage, Logic, until they mic up. Okay, that's Amani Baby. Give me 1 second, Amani. I'll add you up in 1 second. So it says lack of legal precedent. While there have been instances of reparations being granted for specific injustices, Japanese American internment during World War II, there is no established legal precedent in the United States for reparations on the scale required to address the historical injustices of slavery. The U.S. legal system lacks a clear framework for implementing reparations for slavery, which would involve determining eligibility, the form of reparations, and the means of distribution. The second that ChatGPT believes is the most, well, how did they phrase it? The main issue. So it's the second main issue is that the time elapsed. Many legal claims for reparations face challenges due to the statute of limitations, which limits the time within which legal actions can be brought forward. Slavery was abolished over 150 years ago, which complicates efforts to pursue legal claims based on these historical injustices. And third, government sovereign immunity and government liability. Government responsibility for reparations to be granted, there would need to be a clear assignment of responsibility. This typically would involve holding the government or specific entities accountable for past actions. However, the concept of sovereign immunity often protects governments from being sued without their consent. The additional considerations are determining eligibility, forms of reparations, and political and social challenges. In conclusion, the legal issues of lack of precedent, statute of limitations, and sovereign immunity represent significant barriers to achieving reparations for African Americans for slavery. Addressing these challenges requires innovative legal strategies, robust advocacy, and a willingness to navigate complex political and social landscapes. Go ahead, Act.
Okay, so yeah, I just I understand I was a little loud earlier. I'm just passionate, loud. I'm not angry or anything.
Turn your camera on at least once, Bay and Amani Bay. At least turn your camera on one time. Okay, excellent.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like I'm not angry or anything, man. I don't have vitriol towards people like that. Maybe I sound like it. I heard the guy talk. No, I'm not angry. I'm just passionate. I get like a little excited. Like I'm happy to be up here with you guys. Wish you guys had like a cash app so I can hit you because I appreciate everybody for this conversation. So I saw what he pulled up. Okay. One thing is correct. The United States is so powerful, it's hard to sue them. However, there is no statute of limitations on what has happened to Black Americans according to international law. Secondly, we wouldn't sue corporations. You will sue the government because it is the government that created the laws and codified it and also protected it with gun and Bible. And even if it does not end in us getting reparations, it's very important for us to have a distinct, unique identity instead of practicing flat blackness. That's the problem with hip hop. We allow for people to come in, steal our swagger, steal our mannerisms, steal our slang, steal our music, and say, oh, we all did it. No, you did not do it. We are a very specific group with a very specific lineage, okay? And people need to respect that whether or not we get reparations. And I saw Dr. Cologne in the chat saying that we should pay the families in Africa. No, we should not. And Dr. Cologne is a historian. He should know that Africans, many, not all, willingly participated in the slave trade. In fact, there's documentation showing African royalties or people who are people that are in the upper echelon of African society during that time riding on the top of slave ships. There are plenty articles out here with Africans writing about how their family sold slaves and this was a normal practice. So Africans do not deserve reparations when it pertains to American slavery. And that's all I want to say, man. I'm about to get out of here, man. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate the show. And if there's like a donation I can make, I like to make it. But man, have a good day.
I appreciate you, Act. Hey, go ahead, Amani Bay, and then I'm gonna ask this question about True Savior. We're gonna get out of here in about another 20, 30 minutes. Go ahead, Amani Bay. Welcome to the platform. Can't hear you if you're talking. You're on mute. All right. Anybody else want to speak? Okay, I got a question on the why does the government believe it's necessary to pay reparations to Holocaust victims? True Savior says that. Anybody want to speak to that?
Yeah, of course. Because that's the obligation that they have. That's a tribal obligation that they have connected to it. The whole all this talk about reparations is very interesting. Again, like I said, I think it's projected. Largely, what Black people needed to do is what FBA is actually doing, causing them to focus more upon their lineage so that they can develop something based off of a personal cultural definitions of what their life is, not necessarily just culture of the historical sense, what our actual life is. The thing is what old boy was logic was presenting was that don't mean nothing according to court of law. And what people's issue is with FBA is the cultural aspect that FBA, we'll say those who are part of the group, when y'all believe it's a group or whatever, are exhibiting unto others, right? That's the issue you got. And then you want to project, well, this group should be about this. Well, wait a minute. No, they can be about their identity as long as they need to for their own personal health of it. It's not, if again, like I was saying, my main issue with ADOS was that it seemed like it was largely political. And anything that's just done for the sake of politics, for the sake is not done for the sake of the people. My issue that I had with FBA was that it seemed like it was just a hating version of ADOS or whatever. Tariq was hating on Tone and Yvette or whatever. Like, all right, they're not fly, so I can do this fly. Until you started noticing in accord within Black people and diving into our history, diving into our lineage, right? That's what Black people been needing to do the entirety of the time, not run from their history. Hence, like homie said, oh, you're Africans and all this African stuff. It's like, nah, that was Black people issue with the whole Pan-Africanism. Running over there to Africa because you don't want to feel bad here. Instead of utilizing all of your potential and your access that you have here to raise yourself right here. Acknowledge that you got some enemies. Acknowledge that you got some foes. Nah, that ain't what nobody want Black people to do. Nobody want Black people to point out exactly who a non-Black adversary could possibly be within our Black reality. Nobody want us to point that out.
I do. I absolutely do. Right. And I'm actually not even going front. I know that eligibility is a part of the conversation. That's not something that I need to run from, but I can stand on what I've been saying this whole time. It's not even the major issue. That's not the major issue. The major issue is that we are given into rhetoric that we like, and we don't. And because we give into that rhetoric that we like, it doesn't allow us to focus on the weapons that are really being used against us, or establishing the weapons that we can use to defend ourselves. And this litigation process is one of them. This is absolutely one of them. It is us focusing on maybe feeling good when it's not addressing the issues. It's not helping us attack the obstacles. I mean,
What is this feeling good? What is this feeling good? Describe that. What do you mean? Because you say that very
I feel
flippantly
good.
and use
I
it
mean,
very,
I
what I'm
do
saying?
feel good. That's why it's easy for me to say. I do feel good. I am a proud Black
Okay.
American. I'm not dealing with issues of identity, right? And I'm not trying to diminish people who are, but I'm just not trying to
But no,
overinflate
no, no, no,
the.
no, 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 no.
I'm
It's
not
not
trying to.
issues with the identity. What it is a self-correction of one's status within the system that the system didn't ascribe to the people. That's what it is. It's not an issue with identity. You're marginalizing it, and you're not understanding that's what you're doing.
Ultimately what I'm saying is how are you going to do that without involving yourself in this legal process? You have to.
Okay, well,
You have to understand
again,
the
like I
terms.
said, just because it might not happen at your pace, at the pace that you think it should, doesn't mean let's say that you see that as inevitability. All right, cool. That's an inevitability. Are the people there yet? Let's say you could get there because you can just, I guess, project yourself into some hyper fixated form of FBA. I guess you could pretty much estimate what it is that the people are doing, infer what the people are eventually going to arrive to, and you're like, all right, well, let's just cut out the middleman because you can see through the middleman, right? All right, that's you. Everybody else got their own pace, man. But you know what I'm saying? It's the same. It's the same thing. I ain't gonna lie to you, cuz it's almost like dealing with an agent or dealing with some type of pilgrim that want to disrupt something. Like, okay, we'll get to the end of it. You know, like when something comes up in history and this, it's anti-black, and you're talking to a pilgrim and they'll rush you to the end of it, right? It's almost like that's what you're doing, man. Real talk. And it seems like you're being closed off unnecessarily. It seems like you're being closed off unnecessarily because you're a dark skin. Or if you were in the United States as a dark skinned, bald headed black man, cuz you understand, especially if you're in the white collar spaces. Do you not?
I mean, I definitely understand what it's like to be Black in America. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. And you understand what it's like to be a bald head, dark skinned black man in the white collar space, right? Now, are you FBA?
I'm not really too clear on what would define me as being FBA or not.
Your great great
'Cause
grandparents is of this joint, is of the experience
I'm
of
a
black people here.
descendant. I'm absolutely a descendant of slaves. Yes, if that's what you're asking
Okay.
me,
All
yes,
right.
I
All
can
right.
definitively answer
Okay.
that. Yes.
Okay. So you understand that when what I ain't gonna ask you how much you have made, but if you've ever worked corporate and you seem like a cat to have worked corporate, if you ever worked corporate, you've identified the culture of corporate, have you not?
Yep.
And what your presence and participation in all forms of I
Yeah.
guess you know what I
I,
mean?
I mean, you know what's really ironic is they see me as an intelligent threat, and you are projecting onto me that my intelligence is being a threat to what you're trying to accomplish. I'm not. I'm not
Oh
trying to
no
be a
no no
threat
no
to you.
no! Nobody said your. Nah
Yeah, that's a part of my real life experience. They
nah
see an
nah
intelligent,
nah.
dark
So
skinned
no
person. That's a threat to them.
no,
Absolutely.
your intelligence is no threat, bro. You good? Now you your disingenuousness but no, not your intelligence. Your intelligence is
All right,
welcome, cuz.
let me move the conversation forward. Go ahead, Amani Bay.
Thank you, TMI, for allowing me to get on your platform to share some
Yes, sir.
information. I won't be long. Hopefully, my mic is clear.
It's clear.
Um, I'm originally from Los Angeles. I actually live in Japan. I've been here 27 years, and
Okay.
I think that we need to start being more analytical and just dissecting everything we hear, we're told, and we have to really look ourselves in the mirror and be honest with ourselves and basically confirm whether or not we're that dog chasing its tail, going around in circle for decades, or are we actually moving forward? And so my whole deal is, a couple of guys mentioned in the chat, and I believe one of the panelists talked about the Homestead Act, and I made a comment, because people are under the wrong, again, I call it sorcery, and we're giving away our power when people think the Homestead Act benefited pale-skinned immigrants coming across into America. When I mentioned in the chat, that's not true. And this is part of the problem, because we've been
Hold on,
programmed.
before you go forward, tell us, you said it's not true, so explain what was false about what the brother said.
Okay, so when you talk about the Homestead Act, and so we're talking about the 1860, the May 20th, 1862 Homestead Act, okay, where the sovereign United States of America granted mostly 160 acres or up to 320 acres of land to settlers, okay, and that grant is what you call letters patented land to individuals, and these land patents are forever, to having to hold forever, down to their heirs. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm actually behind the curtain in the federal courthouses with currently 7 active lawsuits for heirs to help reclaim patented ancestral lands. And
If
all
you
of
don't
these
mind me asking, are you what would you classify yourself as far as like any affiliation before you go forward?
I'm an American.
Okay, so that's him. No, not a Moor, not a sovereign
No,
citizen,
no,
not.
no, no, none of that. I'm an American.
Okay, okay,
Now,
go ahead.
my name is just a public, just to put in the space there. Now, but my real family name, I'm Grissett. I'm from the house of Grissett.
Okay, that's fine. Go
So,
ahead.
but I don't put my private name out in the public media that way.
And I'm
So,
glad you don't. That's just a smart. It's a good idea. Go ahead.
right. So we need to be more intelligent. I'm hearing terms like FBA, African American, and people in the chat talking. You see, first of all, FBA is a trademark owned by Tariq Nasheed. You go to the United States Patent and Trademark Database, you can see he's the owner of it. And whenever you say it into the ethers, that FBA brand increases. And at the rate everyone's going, within the next 5 to 8 years, he's going to be able to cash out that brand in the hundreds of millions of dollars. It has nothing to do with you or your maternal and paternal ancestors. And also the term African American, which was created in the 1980s by Jesse Jackson, is also recently trademarked by the Chinese. You see, so it has nothing to do with your own individual history of your own individual ancestors. So we keep falling for the banana in a tailpipe. But let's get back to the Homestead Act. So many of us, and this is why they created the out of Africa slave story, to pull you off the land under your feet that your ancestors owned and that you are an heir of. So what we need to start doing is honoring our ancestors, researching who your maternal ancestors were and your paternal ancestors to confirm whether or not they own land, and in particular, patented land. So the Homestead Act, my ancestors on my paternal line were issued the Homestead Act land patent, which I will be initiating a federal lawsuit to reclaim. And all of the individuals I'm dealing with current federal lawsuits are melanated like us, heirs that they recently discovered that they were heirs. Ancestors were issued those homestead land patents, and the one before the homestead was the 1820 Act for the federal land patents that many of your ancestors were also issued. Not only that, you had the colonial land grants for the 13 colonies. I have 2 clients right now. One, his ancestor was issued that colonial land patent in 1703 in South Carolina. You see, so we've been under sorcery and abandoning and giving people power that they never had. The pale skins aren't heirs of the land patents. They don't know anything about it. And this is what we see when we file these lawsuits to reclaim your land. So what we should be doing is researching your maternal and paternal ancestors. It's not this we stuff, because all of us are different individuals. All of us have different ancestors with different histories. See, so that's progress. So right now, in Texas, for example, a couple of clients' ancestors were issued Texas land patents, and they were denied oil royalties for over 40 years. So one of my clients, the company is have to pay back 30 years of back oil royalties that they never paid the family. So this is the real repair
Hey,
when it
look,
comes
can I ask you a
to,
question real quick?
yes.
You said the term African American is patented by the Chinese. You said.
Yeah, so
Do you have any? You got any
recently,
source on that?
yes, of course I do, and I think I see your email in there. I'll send you the sources for the trademark term African American, and I'll send you the sources of the trademark term FBA owned by Tariq Nasheed.
No, no, I
So
understand. I understand the FBA part. It's just I'm looking at it. It says the term African American is not patented. African American. Just let me walk for a second. African American is used to describe Americans of African ancestry. It became widely adopted. Patents are granted for inventions and grant the patent holder exclusive rights to their invention. The
no,
term
not a
African
patent, a
American.
trademark,
Oh, it's
not a
trademark.
patent. It's
Okay, so
trademark.
trademark.
Yes.
Trademarks. Trademarks protect brand names, slogans, and logos used in commerce. While it is theoretically possible to trademark a specific phrase that includes African American, if it is used in a commercial context, the general term African American, as it is used to describe a group of people, cannot be trademarked. What do you say to that?
Okay. Well, I did a presentation
Okay.
2 years ago on this subject, where at that particular time you could go onto the United States Patent Trademark Database, and it was
Okay.
there. Okay, so now after, but last year when I tried to search it, it wasn't there. So I actually had to go and look at other legal databases like Nexus, Lexis, and other databases to find it. But it is trademarked by a Chinese individual who lives in China, and I will send you the sources for that.
Okay, no
See,
problem.
so
No problem.
yeah, I will send you the sources for that. But my deal is this: I'm sure a lot of people heard of heirs property, right? And how a lot of these melanated American families all through the South have been losing their heirs property through forced tax sales, right? That was a legal device that they created in the 80s, and that's how they get 20% of the heirs to agree to sell their portions, and then they can force a cheap auction sale. And these families been losing their lands currently right now. It's still happening. No one's helping them. No lawyers are helping them. And a lot of these heir properties go back hundreds of years, and many of them are originally land patents. You see, so we need to take a different approach and start. If you really want to be repaired, we need to confirm. You need to confirm each individual whether or not your ancestors own land, and then you need to try to go after that land, because the other stuff is pure fiction and fantasy. And if it were true, you would have been remedied. If it were true, you had ancestors from a different continent who were forced here, you'd be remedied by now, if that were true. And also, if that were true, Africans who are illegally crossing the border right now wouldn't be doing that. They'd be looking for family members to become American citizens. You see, so we need to wake up and stop listening, letting people tell us who we are as an individual, and start looking up your own maternal and paternal ancestors.
Okay, let me ask you a question while I got you. And I appreciate you coming up to the panel, and definitely hit me with that email.
Yes.
Would you say that it was that, because I'm looking at, I'm familiar with a little bit about this. So trademark status and document retrieval. It says African American, right? So for some reason it's I believe that's the continent of Africa. But the application filing date was December 29th, 2014. Registration date was October 4th, 2016. But it states that the dead registration was canceled or invalidated. The trademark application was okay, so status: registration canceled because registrant did not file an acceptable declaration under Section 8. Does that sound familiar or anything?
No,
Or is this
who's
news
the
to
name
you?
of that applicant? Who's the name of that applicant? No, because the you said 2014. This is probably a different applicant, but
For the
the
same
Chinese.
term?
Yes, but the Chinese applicant I have, that I believe it was 2021, and it was approved, and he's the current owner of that trademark, and he lives in China. So it
Well,
was approved.
this trademark information is current as of 7/13/2024, and the owner is African American Inc. Because I'm familiar with this, African American Inc. 6676 Goose Point Drive, right? But here's the challenge: this was for beef. It wasn't for. I was familiar. Someone else brought this up to me before. And the trademark was filed December 29th, 2014. It was registered October 4th, 2016. What does the African American trademark cover? It would cover the African American trademark covers beef, canned vegetables, chicken, and pork. These goods are an international class 29. So it's not it's not for use of a term. It can only be used for beef, canned vegetables, chicken, and pork if it was valid, but it's not valid right now.
Well, that's
You
a
want to speak
different
to that?
applicant. Yeah, that's a different applicant. So the
Okay,
applicant I'm talking
drop it in
about,
the email then.
yes,
Drop it in the
yeah,
email.
yeah.
Yeah, drop it in the email. I want to see that. I appreciate
Yes,
that.
and I'll also email you a copy of of my own paternal ancestral Holmes 1862 homestead land patent.
Mm-hmm.
So you because you need to know what that's about, and we all do. A lot of people need to
Right.
understand that. So both my second removed paternal grandfather and my third removed paternal grandfather were issued said Homestead Act land patents for one for 160 acres, and then Thomas Grissett was issued one for 80 acres in 1857. You see,
Okay.
so I will send that to you because you need that in your library to know that. So when we say, oh, the Homestead Act only benefited pale skins coming across the water, it's not true.
Okay. All right, boss. I
Yeah,
appreciate you coming up. Hopefully you subscribe and come back. I love to have a
I will
conversation with
definitely. Thank you.
you. Thank you.
Take care. Have a good night.
Yes, sir. So Logic, in closing, we're gonna close this up. Corey, what you think about this conversation? You might not be there.
So I'll go ahead.
Yeah, you might not be there. Go ahead, Logic. We're gonna close this up.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all coming in. I honestly hope this was a healthy conversation.
They can't hear you.
I honestly hope this was a healthy conversation. I appreciate y'all stopping by, man. But I think the main point that I wanted to make, I was able to make, and actually show that, you know, that there's absolutely like there's no power in what it is that it seems like FBA kind of stands for. It definitely doesn't give us any leverage in the courts, which is where we need it. It doesn't provide us this economic leverage that we would actually need to actually like make this case. And I think there could be room for revision. It's not perfect just yet. It's still young in its infancy, but from what I could tell right now, it's not a formidable weapon against white supremacy. It's not a formidable weapon against systemic racism. You being able to establish your lineage, as you would put it, right? Not necessarily, apparently not up to the court standards, but being able to establish your lineage doesn't it doesn't give you any leverage or sway, and that's really what we need, right? We need to be able to figure out how we can organize whatever our movements are to be able to provide that leverage so we can start seeing some results from it, right? We can turn this from something that's just rhetoric to actually something that's powerful. And that's what it's really all about. Like it's not about just having some fun talking points and the figuring out who's the enemy or I ain't no damn agent, but I understand that just means that you ain't really got nothing to combat what I'm really trying to say. So, here I am. Peace.
All right. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming out, man. It was another nice one. Be on the lookout for the show on Tuesday with Casual. It's talking about the West Coast origins of hip hop. And hey, man, we're gonna take y'all out of here. I appreciate y'all. Oh man, this is a great conversation. Stay here with me, Logic.